Ever had that moment where a major game drops and somehow you didn't even know it existed? No real trailers blowing it up, no hype anywhere, no one even talking about it, and then suddenly, wait, this game is out? I've had this same feeling, but it's just with the Borderlands franchise. They came out with one big trailer, and then somehow, next thing you know, the game is out. That's the opinion of the casual player. Obviously, for me, Borderlands is one of my most favorite franchises, and so I already knew the game was out. But after the debacle of the release of Borderlands 3 and them hyping up that they're going to release DLCs and all of that, and then release the absolute garbage that they brought out, kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. So I wasn't really hyped on buying the game until I saw promise on what they were promising to deliver, I guess. So I did that. And 1 month goes by, 2 months, 3 months. Next thing I know, I've completely forgot about that this game even come out. So I just didn't even, I didn't even attempt to buy it because I forgot. And then next thing I know, I see somebody playing it. I'm like, oh, this game come out. Yeah, I'll play it. And man, should I have bought that game when it came out? Because this game has this franchise has completely redeemed themselves from any negativity that came out from Borderlands 3. Now, I'm not saying Borderlands 3 is a bad game. It's not. It's just the way that the franchise handled itself, the way the 2K handled itself going forward when Borderlands 3 first came out. Now, when Borderlands 3 first came out, they said, yep, we're going to come out with all these new DLCs and all this stuff. They came out with one decent DLC and the rest were rubbish. Absolute hot garbage. So, and it's pretty sad because the Borderlands franchise used to be massive. We're talking about a series that defined looter shooters, especially when it comes to a game that one massive franchise company, Bungie, decided to rip everything from Borderlands and put it into Destiny. And let's not forget, Borderlands 2 got Game of the Year. And I know we're talking, over 10 years ago. I understand that. But still, it's still won Game of the Year, especially back in those days where nearly every single game that was coming out that was AAA was, Hall of Fame games. But when Borderlands 4 was released, it felt like it just slipped through the cracks. The first problem was marketing, or more accurately, the lack of it. Big releases usually dominate your feed, like YouTube ads, TikToks, streams, Twitch, Kick, something like that. But this time it felt quiet. No overwhelming hype cycle, no, you have to play this energy. And in today's gaming world, if you aren't consistently seeing it, they forget it exists. Example A, what I just said at the start of the video. Timing matters a lot. If Borderlands 4 drops anywhere near any other massive titles, it doesn't stand a chance. Because let's be real, gamers only have so much time and money. So if something bigger, newer, or more exciting is trending, everything else gets buried. Now, a good example of this is later on in the year, I've already covered this in other videos, later on in the year, GTA 6 is going to drop. Now, for the next 3 or so months after GTA 6 drops, nobody is going to be releasing game. Probably longer, because you're going to compete with the biggest game in human history coming out, the most overhyped game in human history coming out, and knowing that they have to contend for second because that game's going to be Game of the Year and it's going to win every single award. Let's talk about another issue: franchise fatigue. Call of Duty has it, Battlefield has it. A lot of big companies and big franchises that have been going on for years and years and years, decades, they all have franchise fatigue. But Borderlands has been around a long time, just like every other franchise. And while it's still loved, some players feel like they've already experienced everything it offers. The same humor, the same gameplay loop, same style. So when Borderlands 4 came out, it didn't feel anything new to demand attention. Modern games just don't succeed because they're good. They succeed because they go viral. Think about it. The clips, the memes, the streaming reactions. Borderlands 4 didn't really have that one moment that made everybody stop and say, what is this? And without that, it never really broke into the mainstream conversation. But do you want to know what the craziest part is? Just because you didn't hear about it doesn't mean it's not bad. In fact, a lot of players who did try it actually enjoyed it, which makes it even stranger. It's like what I said before when I said that Borderlands 4, when first playing it, I didn't really have high hopes, but I absolutely loved it. That's why Borderlands 4 didn't fail because it was terrible. It just got lost. Lost in the algorithm, lost in the release schedule, lost in the noise of modern gaming. And in 2026, that's sometimes worse than being bad. Now, after Borderlands 3, a lot of fans thought it was over. The magic, maybe it's gone. The writing, it was very questionable. And the future honestly remained uncertain, but somehow Borderlands 4 just pulled off the impossible. The impossible was Borderlands 3 was a disaster gameplay-wise. The story, the villains, and the tone, that's where things started to fall apart, in my opinion. Fans didn't want loot, they wanted personality. And for the first time, Borderlands felt like it lost that. It lost its originality that made the franchise famous. The Kelso twins was meant to replace Handsome Jack, and that's not an easy task. But instead of being iconic, they felt annoying, the humor felt forced, and a lot of emotional moments just didn't feel emotional at all. Even long-time fans started asking, is Borderlands losing its identity? For sure, I asked that. And this is where Borderlands 4 changes everything. Instead of doubling down on what didn't work, they actually listened. And for a gaming franchise, that's very rare. In Borderlands 4, it brings back something the series was missing, a grounded, edging narrative. The humor was still there, but it finally feels natural again. Not forced, not cringe, just classic Borderland energy. And the villains, way more layered and more threatening, and actually more memorable. Now, the villains and the enemies in the game felt smarter, and I also did like that they put in, anytime you get critical hit damage, the enemy would just fall to the floor. I did like that about the game. Let's talk about gameplay, because this is where Borderlands has always shined. Gunplay feels smoother, faster, and more satisfying than ever. That's the first thing I noticed when I booted up the game for the first time, was the gunplay. The gunplay was as smooth as you can get it. Build variety is deeper, loot actually feels more meaningful again, and bigger upgrade means freedom. You're not just following a path, you're experimenting, exploring, and creating your own chaos. Now, there has been bosses where I for sure said to myself or somebody in my Discord that I was 100% getting a legendary item, and all I got was green and blues. I'm not complaining at all, because that's what you want. You don't want to go up against a boss, defeat him, and then get all the loot, because then there's no point playing the game, because it's just going to get boring after a time. Honestly, this is the biggest reason why Borderlands 4 actually works. It's because they listened for once. Fan feedback shaped rule changes, from pacing to writing to overall design. It finally feels like a game made with the community, not just for a profit. Borderlands 4 didn't just improve the formula, it reminded people why they fell in love with the series in the first place. The chaos, then the humor, then the unforgettable moments. It's all back. Borderlands 3, in my opinion, was very boring. It didn't have much after you beat the final boss. It didn't have anything. So yeah, Borderlands 4 didn't just release another sequel, it redeemed the franchise. And honestly, that's something we don't see very often anymore, because these franchises, they'll make a very bad game on top of an even worse game on top of an even worse game. Have a look at Call of Duty, have a look at Assassin's Creed, have a look at Battlefield, even though Battlefield 6 is pretty good. We'll see how they go after Battlefield 6. You know, have a look at any AAA game. They're not good anymore. The only game that's probably good is the Rockstar franchise. So if you've played Borderlands 4, what do you think saved the series? Or is there something missing? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I want to know. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, because we've got a lot more coming. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.